Am I?
Hey guys, how are you?
Is Chris there? I don't see him on the screen.
Chris is Bella Vista POA.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to Apple time, it's 6 o'clock. Are we ready to start, Tammy?
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay, call the meeting to order. Please stand, recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United
States of America,
and
to the
republic
for which it
stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's a lot easier to do when we're in the same room.
Yeah.
Celebrating success. Tom?
Joan's actually going to take this one.
All right. Welcome back, Joan.
On mute.
Thank you. Yes, I'm excited to present a Celebrating Success Award to Kathy Wilmot. Kathy is the manager at Reardon Hall. She's the Recreation Facilities Manager, and she's been awarded this Celebrating Success for her work with the vaccination opportunities that we've been providing with the City of Bella Vista. The City of Bella Vista Fire Department has had a number of vaccinations, and they've been holding clinics with us at Reardon. And I gave her the handoff early on when this opportunity arose, and she ran with it. She worked closely with the fire department to deal with things like traffic flow and how many appointments we could get through and how we would keep people safe once in the building with social distancing. So she's done a great job. People have recognized it to her, specifically the fire department chiefs that have been in charge of it. And so I just want to thank and appreciate Kathy for all the work she's doing. She just had another one today. And also Cornerstone Pharmacy is doing a number of clinics with us at Reardon Hall. So we're providing a great service to the community by allowing Reardon Hall to be a site for these vaccinations. So thank you and congratulations, Kathy. We'll get you your award real soon.
Good deal. Are there any others? Tom?
Sorry about that. I was checking in because we have a couple of directors missing, so I was checking to see Tammy. No, we don't have any additional celebrating suggests, just Kathy.
Okay, I'll read that into the record then. For the record, I show that Mary Sinkus, Tia Bidwell, and Jan Sims are not with us yet. Perhaps they'll be coming in a little bit later. We do have 6, so we have a quorum. We can conduct business. The first order is the approval of the minutes from the February 25th regular board meeting. Do I have a motion from one of you to approve those minutes?
Yeah, David, I'll make a motion to approve them.
Jerry Barron makes a motion.
I'll second.
A second from Sandy. Is there any discussion or corrections to the minutes? Okay, I'll call for a vote then. All in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hand or signify by saying aye.
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 That's 6. The next is the March 18th work session 1 week ago. And I have a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the March 18th work session.
Thank you, David. A second?
Yeah, I'll second it, David.
Jerry Barron, second. Are there any questions, corrections, anything like that? In that case, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, same signal.
Aye.
Aye.
6 in favor. Next up, Joint Advisory Committee reports. Tom, did you want to take those?
Yeah, I'll take those. For the Lakes Committee, Rick Eccles gave a report on a meeting that he had regarding the Lake Ann sinkhole, and we should be getting more information fairly soon regarding that. We're waiting on the cost and the timeline for the repair from the engineering company. Rick also reported on the Lake Rayburn drawdown. They are doing some dredging around the launch area. Because the time it took to get the lake down, they plan to delay refill until April 1st. The marina at Loch Lomond was open with spring hours on March 16th. The subcommittee on jug and limb fishing has received a number of emails and calls on both sides of the issue. They agreed that any abuse is by a small number of people. They also agreed to continue to monitor the issue and to make no major changes at this time. Teams for Secchi Depth readings is proceeding, and we're looking for volunteers to do Secchi Depth. And if you're interested, please contact Tammy Lloyd, and she will put you in contact with the right people. Next up, we have the Recreation Committee. Branchwood Recreation Center reservations are really full for both the pool and the workout center. The place is looking great. Reardon Hall Complex and Tennis. Reardon is in good condition. The pool deck at Kingsdale Pool is looking very good. I actually went out there myself just a few days ago, and it's looking really good. They're putting the covers back on, the shade covers. BV Park and the Blowing Springs Park are in great shape, and the Gear Garden is going to be opening up middle of May, and they're debuting the Trailhead Lager partnership with Bentonville Brewing is going to be debuted tomorrow in our bars. The meet and greet was held via Zoom and in February, and it was a success. 18 states were represented. Lots of good questions. And right now, activity card sales are down. This report is a couple weeks old. We think it's partially weather related, but we're keeping close tabs on it to see if that's going to be a permanent trend or not. Rick Eccles also reported on lake activity to the Rec Committee, and there was 1,073 contacts, 20 individuals removed, 38 contacts during the month. The Christmas tree habitat at Loch Lomond was completed. The golf course ponds were drained for ecology, and they removed 108. A volunteer group removed 108 tires from the Tweedy Bird Trailhead. Great volunteer effort. And lastly, for the golf committee, congratulations to Shane O'Neill, the assistant superintendent at Scottsdale, for earning his basic turfgrass certificate. He's working on his advanced turfgrass certificate and should earn this by the end of this year. The golf courses were closed 18 out of 28 days in February, so rounds were down for the month, unfortunately. Tanyard Creek, still we saw an increase in the number of range buckets used. There was a 657 bucket increase year over year. Frozen pipe damage at number 13 green at Dogwood caused quite a bit of damage. Keith presented some pictures, and that damage has been fixed, and we hope to open up the green within the next 1 to 2 months for use. Mark Deal, current member of the golf committee, was unanimously voted upon for another term, and the board will address this later on today. And the Golf JAC, they will go to their summer hours and have their meetings in April starting at 4 o'clock, and that will run through the month of October. And that's the summary of the report of all the committees.
Thank you for giving that. We appreciate what the JAC committees do for us. The next item, the financial reports. Tom, do you have that, or is Stacy going to cover it?
I'm going to share screen right now.
Okay. That would be page 25 if you have the packet or you're following along.
All right, Stacy, it's all to you.
All right, so we'll talk about February. You're going to see some of the same trends in what Tom was talking about with the weather. And just a reminder, our financials are on the website, and there's the link to those or the website address to those so that you can go back and review those at your leisure. We're going to start with talking about consolidated results, which is both POA and water. And if you look across the top line, that's February. You can see our revenue was down by $113,000. Our gross profit in February was down by $125,000. Our expenses were better than budget by $238,000, which drove our EBITDA to be better than budget by $113,000. The second row is year to date, which is really the same trend. We're only 2 months into the year, but our variance year to date is running $130,000. Our gross profit year to date is running a negative variance of $103,000. And then our expenses are better than budget by $459,000, which is driving EBITDA to be better than budget by $356,000. And we'll talk about these in just a little bit more detail.
Are you going to, Stacy, are you going to talk about why the expenses are so low?
Yes, I will on these next slides here. So the first slide that we're going to talk about, this is POA. So in February, our revenue was $1.4 million versus a budget of $1.5 million. So our revenue was worse than budget by $65,000, which again is primarily driven by golf. Tom already talked about the days it was closed. Food and beverage was also closed. So golf was worse than budget by $70,000 in February, $19,000 of that green fees, 16 cart, and then annual green fees of 17. Our food and beverage was worse than budget by $21,000, really in the a la carte space, again, driven by the closures and the weather. Our expenses were significantly better than budget, $1.2 million versus a budget of $1.4, so $199,000 difference. Salaries and benefits of $88,000, $41,000 of that's golf, $10,000 restaurants, $16,000 in F&A. Most of that is due to the timing of our hires and the closure due to weather. So we do have some savings we'll probably carry on in the salary space from the closures that we had, but we also have timing in areas not related to salaries that is really timing, and those expenses are going to come through later on. I'm expecting to see those in the March, April timeframe. Some of those being professional services were $26,000 under budget, maintenance and repairs $45,000. When I talked with the directors in those spaces, maintenance and repairs was also weather driven. It's hard to get out and do stuff when you have such terrible weather in the month of February. So again, timing. Please don't have a false sense of security that EBITDA is great, because I do believe that we're going to see a couple months coming up here where our expenses may exceed budget because of the weather we had in February. Year to date revenue, we're at $3.3 million versus a budget of $3.4. So we're the worse than budget by $101,000. Recreation is still running better than budget by $21,000 due to dock fees of $13,000. Our RV park at $6,000, it's really hopping, and the RV storage of $8,000. Golf is still trending, obviously year to date worse than budget by $167,000, again weather driven. Green fees of $66,000, cart rental of $46,000, and regular green fees of $18,000. And Tom also talked about activity cards. We saw those there worse than budget year to date by $21,000. We think some of that's weather, and we've also wondered if some of that's due to COVID, talking with the manager at that area, due to people are starting to get out now and they're going to start using more of the amenities and stuff, so we're hoping maybe we'll see that go up. From an expense standpoint, we're at 2.5 million versus a budget of 2.9. So we're better than budget by 410,000. Again, it's the same story as what I told for February. Salaries and benefits are better by 136,000. 60 of that's in golf, 22 in MAC, 16 in FMB, and 10 lakes, 8 in recreation. Timing of salaries due to closures. Part of that will probably carry over, and it's timing of new hires and things, but part of that will be a real savings that we will see. And then other areas that are better than budget, again, timing, and I do expect this to catch up, will be maintenance and repairs of 64,000, supplies of 27, training and travel of 25, and professional services of 55. So the key takeaway, if you get anything out of tonight, out of the financials, my key takeaway would be timing of expenses due to weather. It has a positive impact on EBITDA right now, but I really expect that to flip, and we will see higher expenses in the next few months. So that's the POA. Next slide.
Do you have it now? It's
Oh yeah, it's there. So sorry. So the next slide is about water, and it's really the same story as we talked about the POA, very weather driven in February. Our revenue was 699,000 versus a budget of 747. So they're worse than budget by 48. Really, that's in water sales. It was worse than budget by 4, so it was pretty flat. Our water capital buy-in fees was worse than budget by 27.5. Talking with Charlie, the contractors just weren't out because of weather for a couple of weeks in February, so that just slowed things down. And then late fees are worse than budget by 13. Gross profit, we ended up worse than budget by 70, and that was actually a calculation error in the way we did the volume changes and the contract change, so that's going to level out year to date. And then expenses, 225,000 versus a budget of 265. So we're better than budget by 40. Same story, weather, salaries, wages, and employee benefits are better than budget by 8. And other expenses, really due to timing again, are in the supplies and the maintenance and repairs. Year to date, similar revenue is at 1.48 million versus a budget of 1.51. So they're worse than budget by 29,000. Water sales are better than budget by 16 year to date. Water capital buy-in fees are worse than budget by 23, again, driven by weather. And water late fees are worse than budget by 17. Gross profit year to date, it's only worse than budget by 6. So again, that's kind of leveling back out. And expenses, better than budget by 52. Again, primarily due to timing. Salaries, wages, and employee benefits were better than budget by 14. And our other expenses better than budget due to timing. Some of the big ones were supplies, maintenance and repairs, and postage. So here's just kind of a snapshot and EBITDA variance by budget. Our total consolidated EBITDA for the month ended up at 356,000. Water was 46 and POA was 310. And this is year to date. But you can see, and what I want you to take away from this is you can see how high golf maintenance is and recreation and water and some of those, and that's driven by their expenses and the timing that we're having with those expenses. And so you're going to see that start to come down as they level out their expenses due to the weather. So the intercompany loan for February, so we made another $50,000 payment from the POA to water for the intercompany piece. So that means we've paid $100,000 year to date. If you remember, we ended the year at 2.92 million, and we now are at a balance of 2.82, with our commitment being 280,000. And the circle on the right just shows that we paid 18% of it in January, February, and the orange is what we have left to pay yet this year, the remaining commitment. So cash positions. So where are we at the end of February? Overall, we had 5.1 million in cash. The POA unreserved cash is at 1.02 million, and the POA reserves, which is 170,000, and that's that 2020 commitment that we made with the 2020 plan. Our water unrestricted is 3.34 million, and the water restricted, which relates to the bond payment reserves, is at 594,000. And our prepaid assessments look really good. They're sitting at 1.9 million. Just kind of a snapshot of some of the activity that we had going on. So the bottom left hand, you'll see that the improved delinquent accounts were down 224 from last month, We believe part of that's stimulus and part of that's IRS, people getting their tax returns back. We collected on 958 accounts. This is both accounting and some in legal for 146,000. And legal brought in 40 lots were brought back into inventory. 30 were pending. We have 30 right now pending legal reviews. So, and year to date, I think Doug said he sold 58 lots. And so legal is really busy with their lot sales. Activity cards, we sold 631 compared to 1,048 last year. And we talked about that a few minutes ago. Monetary requirements are just through the roof. We did 593 of those in February compared to 255 last year. And then our prepaid accounts, we have 11,120 with a prepaid balance compared to 9,900 last month.
Any questions? That's the end. Oh, I'm sorry. There's the end. There's the last slide.
Yeah, that's just the one pager that is just kind of a summary of everything we have talked about, so we don't have to go through it in detail, but I like to add it because it's a nice snapshot. So, questions?
Great. Thank you, Stacy.
Looks good.
Welcome.
Okay, Pam, Dan, and Mary Sinkus have joined us. I wanted to make note of that. The next item up was last month's open forum. There were no comments. And this month's open forum is my understanding that we have none sent in. Is that still correct, Tammy?
That's correct. We have no
Okay.
comments.
Okay, moving on then. The next item up will be the license agreement for the Highland storage. Tom, would you like to cover that, explain it a little bit?
Yeah, so the BB Central Storage, which is located off of Rogers Road near Highlands Road, they're attempting to sell the storage unit. When they originally purchased it, unfortunately, they did not get a survey, and they've determined that so when they originally purchased, they didn't do a survey. They're looking to sell it at this point. They did a survey recently. They found out that some of their building and asphalt is on other people's property. They've been working with Cooper Communities, and they were able to secure an easement from them for a portion of the building that was on Cooper property. They were also able to secure an easement from another property owner where a portion of their asphalt was on that property. They've approached us. There's about a 10-foot wide, 15-foot wide strip of asphalt that they are on POA property. It's by and large useless land. We can't do an easement. That would be a violation of our governing documents to do such a thing without a vote of the membership. But we can do a licensing agreement. They've agreed to pay the POA $5,000 in consideration, and they would pay that up front for a 25-year licensing agreement. Any questions?
Okay, who would like to make the motion to approve this licensing agreement?
I move that we approve the licensing agreement.
Okay.
Second.
A
Second from Tia.
second from Tia. Okay, that's a motion to enter into a licensing agreement with the owner of the Bella Vista Central Storage in exchange for a one-time payment to the POA of $5,000. Comments, questions, concerns?
David, I have a concern. Originally, I didn't think this was such a bad idea. I mean, that strip of land there is basically landlocked. I tried to go look at it. There's a fence, obviously, around the property, and there are trees behind it, and the road that leads to that cul-de-sac was quite muddy. So I didn't really get a chance to look at it, but I'm assuming it's the asphalt and the fence that's actually on POA property. And like I said, initially I didn't think it was a big deal, but then someone reminded me that Our declarations state that all common property is to be accessible by members and free for their enjoyment. So my question is, how can we license this land and still fulfill our requirements under our declaration?
Doug, if you could jump in on this.
Yeah, Sandy, that's a good question. I mean, as you know, the license agreement doesn't convey title to property, so it still remains owned by the POA, and as common property, it is for the use of all members. So because there's no, if it was owned, if we transferred ownership to BV Central Storage, then if any member used the property, it could be considered trespassing, but because it's a license agreement, anyone can still technically access that property. And it's the same with Cooper. I understand that they issued what's called a non-exclusive easement. So under that, for Cooper, it's also the same that any, that the easement is not exclusive to BV Central Storage. So technically it's still POA property and still accessible by POA members.
Any other questions? In that case, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of executing the licensing agreement, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Of course.
And Sandy is opposed. Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda, and I can read a little bit about this, policy 8.03, the process and documentation required to support a request for the use of common property as a result of a septic system leach field failure. Now, there's a mouthful. Anybody have any, well, no. First, we need a motion. Will somebody make a motion? This is a second reading, and if we pass it, it will become fact. So will somebody make the motion to approve this? Come on.
David, I will. I'll make a motion approving the changes to policy 8.03 plus the fee of $500 for traversing of common property for septic systems and $2,000 for a leach field on common property. This is the second of two required readings.
Thank you, David. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Jerry Barron seconds it. Okay, now, discussion, comments, questions?
David, I'm going to throw something in there that whether it's here or there or not, I think that's something that all of us that have a lot or lots at Bella Vista and have a home and we're not on the sewer system, that there's always a possibility we could be faced with this, and what the heck would we do if that happened? So I think we have to be at least give some consideration to this, and I think this is why this is a good thing we can do to help our residents if we have that kind of a failure. And we do know that the restrictions and requirements for septic fields are becoming tougher by the health department all the time.
Yeah, this is something that has happened in the past, not frequently, but it has happened. And these changes to the policy spell out a little bit more clearly than the existing policy how to go about in the event that it happens to somebody else. So it makes the policy clearer. Any other questions? In that case, I will call for a vote, the second of two readings. All in favor signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed? 6. Jerry
David,
Holmes.
I raised my hand. I'm not sure you caught that.
Mary?
Yeah.
I counted 7-2, David.
I did.
So,
7-2. Is that right? Do I have it 7-2? Is that correct? Who did I have opposed?
Jerry
Jerry?
Hooper and Jan Sims. Oh,
And Mike.
Mike Abb
Mike Abb.
and Jan Sims. So that's 6-3.
Is that correct, Jan? You were opposed?
Muted, Jan. Jan, you're muted.
Jan, raise your hand if you're in favor. Jan's in favor, 7-2. We've got that one. Okay, thank you. The next item concerns coming improvements to the online system and proposed service fee for credit card payment for assessments and water service. Something that our employees tell us that people have been asking about. So can I have a motion?
David, why you, pardon the interruption, Stacy has put together a presentation. Possibly we could have the presentation first and then have a vote.
Okay, we'll have the presentation and then we'll do the motion.
All right, so coming improvements to the online payment portal and the credit card fees for assessments and water. So as you guys are aware, we made the business decision to move to regions, and with that has come some opportunities. One of those opportunities is an integrated payment portal. We've been hearing from our members for some time that they want to be able to pay for both their water and their assessment bills in one location. With this new payment portal, we'll be able to pay both from one site. And in the future, with the right software, we'll be able to probably add on other things that they'll be able to pay for as well, such as golf and other fees. We hear that you want to be able to set up reoccurring payments or make prepayments. So this web portal will allow them to make reoccurring ACH payments, credit cards, and debit cards, and you'll be able to set those up as you want on the system. They talk about, or the members want, a website to store their credit card information for their convenience. So this will store their credit card. It will be stored at the bank. It will not be stored with the POA. And they can do whatever they want within that payment portal and store it for future use. They'll also be able to research their prior payments that they've made on this payment portal. And the last thing is you'll be able to pay from your phone. So the Regions app will be linked to the Bella Vista POA app, and you will have access to that information from a mobile phone. Some of the other things that with this change will come is PCI compliance. So this is huge. Relevant customer credit card and banking information will be stored at the bank. The POA will no longer have access to your bank account information or your credit card information. ACH and personal information will be set up and changed, deleted by the member on the portal. So accounting will no longer be doing that. You will not be filling out forms and sending them in to us to make those changes. And we'll still provide the members with options. You can pay with ACH, credit card, debit card, phone, lockbox, Dropbox, everything that you have today. However, with all of these changes comes costs. So currently in 2020, our credit card fees were $84,000 just for water and assessments. We were somewhere around $175,000 for all credit card fees. Credit and debit cards processed have a merchant fee that's attached to those. That's what makes them so high. Currently, our water department charges $1.25 to use the web portal, and the ACH fees are currently paid for by the POA, as well as the credit and debit cards and all of the lockbox fees. So we pay for everything associated with you paying your assessment and water bill, except for the $1.25. My recommendation is that we move to eliminate the $1.25 charge from the web portal for Tyler, since you'll be able to pay your water bill from the Regions website. I would propose that we continue to pay the ACH processing from the payment portal. We continue to pay for the lockbox, the Dropbox, the phone calls, member services. Everything will stay the same as it is today for ACHs and all other options. The only thing I ask is that you consider voting a 3.5% convenience fee for credit and debit card payments with a $3 minimum. This would be for water and assessment payments only. And this is consistent with what the banks are seeing from businesses and government sites today. Again, everything else would be free, and there will be other options for our members to pay if they choose to pay with something other than a credit card. Questions? Oh, and here is just an example of what the new portal could possibly look like. This is something that marketing will have to work with regions to actually design it, but it's just an example.
So when a property owner logs in to make a payment online and pay with their credit card, it will show that there will be a fee, but it'll also show that if you pay via check or ACH, that there will be no fee at all. So we want to make sure that every property owner understands that by paying versus via ACH or check is for free, but by credit card, there would be a charge. And what we plan on doing is in the coming months, now we're going to implement this in July. In the months prior to July, we would do a big push to try and get more people onto ACH because we don't want to charge that fee, but we also don't want to be charged the fee ourselves. Any questions?
Okay, the motion that I'm asking someone to make then is make a motion to implement the 3.5% credit card service fee with a minimum $3 minimum transaction for all water and assessment payments. Members that make these payments via check or ACH will incur no fee. The credit card service fee will begin to get charged in July or soon afterwards. Who will make that motion?
I'll make the motion, David.
Jerry Barron. Second on that?
Second.
Mike Abb.
Second from Mike Abb. Okay. Comments, questions? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Thank you. The last item on the agenda is Golf JAC Committee nomination to re-up for a 3-year term Mark Deal. Can I have a motion to approve the recommended nomination of the Golf Joint Advisory Committee of Mark Deal for another 3-year term?
Easy for you to say, David. I will make a motion to approve the recommended nomination of the Joint Golf Advisory Committee of Mark Deal for another 3-year term.
You said
I'll
it.
second that.
A second. Jan Sims is a second on that. Any discussion on that?
I'll throw a couple of my 2 cents worth in there. Mark's one of the really good guys out there that cares about it. He works hard at it. So I think we're very lucky to have him.
Thank you, David. Seeing no other questions or comments, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I believe it's unanimous. Okay, that brings us to the end of the published agenda. The announcements are the cutoff for the Board of Directors election is Wednesday, March 31st. And I know that legal, with some outside help from Tammy, have been working diligently to get as many property transfers as possible completed to allow our new members the opportunity to vote. The GM meeting is Thursday, April 8th, 4 p.m. in the boardroom at the Country Club, and also by Zoom for those who wish to. The Recreation JAC meeting is Monday, April 12th, 4 p.m. in the boardroom, also available Zoom. The Board of Directors election and the ballots will be mailed and emailed Tuesday, April 13th. The Lakes JAC is Wednesday, April 14th at 2 p.m. in the boardroom and Zoom. Golf JAC is Wednesday, April 14th at 4 p.m. in the boardroom and Zoom. The Board of Directors work session for next month is April 15th. That's an infamous date. 9 a.m. in the boardroom at the Country Club and via Zoom. And the regular section will be Thursday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. in the boardroom and available as Zoom. And with that, we have finished our agenda. Is there anything else? In that case, I will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.